Okay, so, um, uh, Ms. Robledo, how is the environment like when having more than one age group in your class?
I would say socially it's much more vibrant because students here sometimes get stuck with the same group of people over and over, and there's this desire to meet new people. And you rarely get a chance to interact with people outside of your grade and age level. And so there's definitely a social element that I miss since I don't have that this year since my grades are separated. There's a lot more hierarchy, if that makes sense. You know who's a senior, and they act like a senior. They have almost this swagger about them. And the juniors at first were very intimidated, but eventually it evolved into almost like a sibling relationship.
Okay, uh, is it always clear to you, who was older in your class and who was younger?
It was for me simply by virtue of height. There's a big growth spurt, I think, for a lot of students between 16 and 17. And even in terms of vocabulary and manner of speaking, you could almost tell the difference of who was older, who was younger. Also, house culture between the two different loops, depending on who your teachers are, students tend to have a way about them depending on that. And so for me, I could always tell if a visitor came and watched my room. I don't know if they could tell.
Um, do you teach the same way to the younger kids as you do to the older kids?
Yes, I do. I feel that most students benefit from similar instruction in the same room as long as that instruction is personalized.
Um, the class that you teach, is it an AP class or a CP class?
The past years I've done both.
Okay. Uh, do the kids work well together, or do the juniors stay with the juniors and the seniors with the seniors?
They try at the beginning. It's almost like a middle school dance with the girls and the boys, except I had juniors and seniors. But me and my teaching partner, Ms. Poblette, we would always make sure to try to mix them up as much as possible to get over their fears of each other and to try to learn from each other.
Okay. Um, do you receive the same amount of work? Do your kids do your kids receive the same amount of work as the older kids to the younger
Yeah,
ones?
they would get the same workload. At the beginning of the year, it was differentiated in terms of expectations. Like seniors might have a little bit higher expectation in terms of their critical thinking or their writing, but for the most part, it was like the same task.
Um, do you think that teaching a mixed class is harder or easier due to the subject that you're trying to reach?
That's a really good question because I don't know. I would say in some ways it's easier in that you have such a diversity of ideas that students really engage more with each other. But then in a lot of ways it's harder because you have such different skill levels. And so a junior at the beginning of the year and a senior at the beginning of the year are entering at two entirely different points. And so I don't think there's a right answer to that. I think in a lot of ways it's easier and it's a lot more fun. In a lot of the ways it was much more challenging.
Great, thank you.